People of Reddit, what secret will you take to the grave but will say on the internet? Had a sweet, wonderful student who had been in foster care, but his mom worked her ass off to get him back, and she did. He had to take a very important city correction state exam. I have no idea why I wrote city exam, and she called me and asked if he passed it. I looked at the grades and saw he did and said so. She burst into tears of joy, and that is when I saw I had read the wrong score. He had failed, so I changed his grade to passing. No one knew. That was the only time I ever did that. That could have cost me my license. The weird thing is, when my awful corrupt principal pressured me to change other students' scores so we could raise our pass rate, I refused. I never told anyone what I did for my student. He went into the military, was extremely successful there, has a great wife and kids, so I think I did the right thing. Fuck those tests. They aren't human. Mentioned before, will never tell anyone I had one of those expensive fancy life-sized sex dolls. Got rid of it at first opportunity after getting a real partner. But it's literally the only secret I have that I'm not willing to say to anyone in real life. I watched a whole Vice program on it. I wouldn't mind giving it a go. I asked my roommate if he'd buy one. His line of thinking was spot on. Why not? But where would I hide it? A girl comes over and there's this life-size mannequin with her mouth open sitting on the bed. Don't mind her. I have you now. When I was 7, my dad was dating this woman and they seemed pretty happy. But she had a son who would molest me for months in my own room and eventually led to him raping me. If I was to have told anyone, that would break up our parents, and I didn't want my dad to be sad, so I just took it. I sharted on a New Year's party bus a few years ago. I thought it was just a fart, but it was a small shotgun blast of fluid. I stayed calm and threw away my undies at the next bar. Luckily there was little or no shit on the inside of my jeans, and I was able to continue the night with no one aware of my poop crime. That happened to me on Halloween a few years ago. I drank 6 Angry Orchards and sharted in my thong. I just calmly walked into the bathroom and tore the side seams of the underwear so I could take them off and throw them away without having to remove my fishnets. No one was the wiser. Sharting in a thong sounds unbelievably messy. I was helping a friend fix their computer when I found child pornography on the computer. I fixed the computer and made an anonymous tip to the police. He was arrested about a year later. He was part of a ring, and they got something like 30 pedophiles. We aren't friends anymore, and he never suspected it was me behind him getting arrested. He was a minor part of the ring, but the tip helped them investigate it further. It ended up being pretty big news here. My former stepsister molested me for 3 years, 6 until I was 9. No one in my personal life knows, and I'd like to keep it that way. I too was molested by a sibling, a brother, from about 5 to 8. No one in my personal life besides my wife knows. I couldn't even imagine explaining something like that to friends. You're not alone, and I am sorry that this happened to you. A friend who is outwardly happily married pulled me aside before the wedding, at which I was a groomsman, to have a word. I thought he was just having cold feet, so I rather jocularly asked him if staring down the barrel of a life sentence had got him looking for the door. Well, he got extremely serious and said that I was right, because he is gay and can't ever truly love his soon-to-be wife the way he should. This was a confident, swaggering dude who I thought would punch a lion in the face if it looked at him the wrong way. The kind of dude who conveys with his posture that he means business, and his business is being awesome. I always thought of him as the man with a plan, who never got flustered and always had the right answer to our silly problems. And here he was in front of me, quaking and filled with terror because he knew that he had gotten himself into a real jam by being dishonest with himself and those he cared about. I hated it. It was like watching my dad get beat up. My advice was to be honest with his fiancée, and to talk to her before the ceremony about it. That no one would blame him, that this happens, and that while it was painful now, he would be respected in the long term for being upfront and preventing further hurt. He left me saying that he would do so. He came back 30 minutes later pale and sweaty, and told us all the ceremony was still on. It was. And they got married and we all toasted their future while he shot me paint looks all night long, looks that gradually faded the more he drank and lost himself in the celebration. They've been married for 5 years, and have a kid. they look happy. I hope they are. It's not for me to say anything, but I will be there for both of them when he spills the beans. Damn, this made me sad. I was raped at age 14. Like 3 people know. That's it. But what no one knows is I fell pregnant, and before I even got to tell my mum, my dad beat me so hard, for something unrelated, that I miscarried. One of my friends always said I'm going to die young. I know I won't make it to my 50s and doubt I'll make it to my 40s. We all used to brush it off, but none of us would have been surprised if he had gone out in a bike accident. Last year he died at the age of 32. His heart gave out. He was fit and healthy, just had family history which we found out after his death. The week before he died he said to me, "Thing with life. People die and people get on with it. It's just one of those things." I didn't expect to be breaking my heart over him a week later. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to our new channel.